So I started out drawing out a rough sketch of what I wanted the bodice to look like. I decided to go with a kind of sweetheart neckline, kind of really elevating that um, 50s look of the kind of modeling this after an I Love Lucy apron. Just really giving that stereotypical 50s style. After it was drawn out, I decided to go ahead and cut it out. There we are, just doing a rough cut. Because it was the mock-up, I wasn't too concerned with cutting it out perfectly. This is just, to give you an idea of what it might look like. So after it was cut, I went over, pinned it to my dress form again, and then started putting in where I would put the pleats to give it a more fitted look. This is the easiest way for me to get my darts situated, is to just draw them on while they're pinned down. As you see there, that was me drawing them on the dress form, and then I just go back with my straight edge and do a really nice clean line for the darts. Then I just head over to the sewing machine and sew up those darts to make sure that they line up correctly and that they look right. Yeah, I know it's kind of dirty, but like I said, this is just a mock-up. I'm not too worried about it being pretty. Then I put it on the dress form, look at it, they line up nicely. I'm pretty happy with them, and so I take it off the dress form, undo the darts, and then go to my fashion fabric. Now I didn't add any seam allowance to the mock-up, so I'm adding it here. I decided to give myself a nice inch of seam allowance, just in case anything happens. I am cutting most everything on a half-inch seam, or I'm stitching everything on a half-inch seam allowance, half-inch to a quarter-inch, depending on what looks right and looks good. As you see, I just did a rough cutout of the bodice, and then I'm going back now and just making sure everything is symmetrical on both sides. There we are, and now I put the mock-up back on the fashion fabric, and I'm marking out the darts with a pencil and then going back through with my straight edge and just really putting those dart lines back in to be more visible. Now this is the skirt. I just did a simple half circle, and here I am adding on an inch of hem to it because it was already pretty long, so I just wanted to put another inch in to hem it up when I was done. And here we are, we have the skirt and the bodice. I like to go over and press everything. When I cut it out, it just makes it a lot easier when you get to the sewing portion. Now I'm working on cutting out the straps. There are 3 straps, so I just go ahead and line up. And all of these pattern pieces, none of them have seam allowance, so I'm just adding seam allowance to them. I did a half-inch seam allowance on these, and I just cut it out with chalk, and then cut it out after that. Do that 2 more times, and you have 3 straps. And then I just did a simple patch pocket, again adding on that half-inch seam allowance. So we have 2 patch pockets, we have 3 straps, 2 for the waist, 1 for the neck, 2 bodice pieces, and then 1 skirt. I like to press the pockets. It makes it easier to sew them on later. Just folding in that half-inch. I do the same with these straps. I just like to give it a nice press just to get it ready, so I know that they're nice and even. Doing the other pocket now. And then I pin the skirt to the dress form, and I'm just trying to position the patch pockets so they're nice and symmetrical and even. Now, I wanted the pockets to stand out a little bit from the dress itself, so I decided to add in some piping to them. If I were to do this again, I would probably put the piping on the pocket itself and then attach the pocket to the skirt. Just it was kind of difficult to maneuver the piping correctly and get it nice and situated and even. There I am thinking about, oh, what am I doing? So then we just kind of use a zipper foot when putting on piping. It gets you really close to that cord. It makes your stitches really close and tight with the edge. It just comes out very pretty. These are the darts I'm putting in the bodice. I decided to add a little frill and lace to the bodice, so here I am sewing the lace on one side of the bodice, and now I sandwiched the lace in between those two pieces of the bodice, right sides together, so when I bag out or turn the bodice right side out, the bodice is lined with itself, and it gives a nice, as you see there, that nice lace around the edge. I then connected the waist to the bodice to the skirt, and now I'm working on the straps. Pull those out, give them a nice press. You want to press everything. It just makes working with it a whole lot easier, and it just makes it a whole lot cleaner. So here I am just putting the straps on the ends, just kind of sewing them on real quick and dirty. Now here I am looking at the apron and realizing that I probably should have put a waistband in instead of just connecting the bodice to the skirt directly, but it was already about midnight, so I decided I don't care that much about it. I'm just gonna keep it. Let's just add some more trim. So I took some more lace and added it to the hem of the skirt, just sewing along there nice and easy, just giving it a little bit more fun. Then I'm just hemming up the sides of the skirt. And then I just wanted to add a little more flair to the pocket, so I took some of that lace trim and just hand stitched it on. Again, like I said with the piping, if I were to do it again, I would sew the lace and the piping on before the pockets even went on the skirt. I think that would be the easiest thing to do in your best bet. Next, I had a couple little buttons for the straps there to give an illusion that they're buttoned on. I went with these cute white heart buttons. I think they added to the aesthetic of this 50s apron and the sweetheart neckline. And then I added a little more ribbon to the waist of the skirt, and here we are, and the skirt's done. I probably wouldn't have done a half circle. I probably would have just done a rectangle gathered. Like I said with the pockets, I'd probably revisit them